All right, let's get this. All right. Hello, everyone. It is me, Lauren Cadillac.
And Jamesha Lambert.
And we are back today. We are live. I decided that it would be hilarious if we read out loud this cross-examination that I did. When was it? In 18, right?
18,
2018. And I felt like it was the best cross-examination I've ever done. Y'all can't see her, but Sedre is right over here, and she is going to be playing the voice of the other lawyer and the court. So if you hear a side voice, that's the other lawyer in the court. Jamesha is going to be the person I'm cross-examining, and I am going to do the cross-examination. Now, we don't have it memorized, so we are using
the actual transcript.
Mm-hmm. So bear with us, because we're literally reading this to you live. All right. Shall we begin?
We begin.
All right. Good afternoon. Now, I'm not going to say the name because I don't want to.
Well, give her a name.
Oh, okay. Let's give her a name. Brenda. Good afternoon, Brenda.
Hello.
You don't always tell the truth, do you?
I always tell the truth.
Sometimes when it doesn't suit you, you lie about certain things, don't you?
No.
For example, you filed an original pleading in this case, didn't you?
You would have to ask my attorney what pleadings were filed. I'm sorry. I don't have that information in front of me.
In your pleading, you stated that your father died intestate, didn't you?
I don't have the paperwork in front of me. I'm sorry.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes, you may.
I'm showing the witness what has been previously marked as Defendant's Exhibit O. Brenda, do you recognize this document?
It is in an email from me to my sister.
Do you recognize that document because you wrote the document?
No, I recognize it because I'm reading it.
Do you remember writing an email to your sister in December of 2012?
No, ma'am, I don't.
But you recognize your name on it?
I see my name on it, yes.
And your email address?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to admit into evidence what's been previously marked as Defendant's Exhibit O.
Objection. Hearsay, Your Honor.
Your Honor, it is not hearsay. It's an admission by party opponent. It's an email. It comes from her email address to her sister.
Can you establish that with the witness? I've not seen the document you're referencing, so I have no...
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I had brought a book to the court.
When you reference zero, are you referring to the defendant?
Yes, Your Honor. The defendant's zero.
When you say defendant, are you referring to your client?
Yes, Your Honor. My stickers only say defendant or plaintiff. I use the defendant stickers.
I'm going to overrule the objection for now, but I'm not admitting to the document.
Brenda, if you would just read over that document quietly to yourself.
Okay.
Does that document help you refresh your recollection then that you did have a copy of your father's will?
It says I do. Yes, ma'am.
So you also did interrogatories for this case, didn't you?
I'm sorry. An interrogatory is...
It's part of the discovery process. You and your lawyer would have gone over some interrogatory requests for production, requests for admission.
My attorney and I did work together. I'm not sure what an interrogatory is. I'm not an attorney.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes, you may.
I'm presenting the witness what's been previously marked as Defendant's Exhibit VV. These are interrogatories she submitted on this case, and this is page 3 of the interrogatories. Can you read over this document?
Okay.
Pardon me, counselor. What's the exhibit letter?
Double V, Your Honor. May I approach the witness?
Yes, you may.
Does this document help you recall your submissions? This is page 8. It has your signature. Can you tell? Oh, it has the signature. Can you tell me whose signature that is?
My signature.
And it's stamped by a notary, isn't it?
Yes.
So you did indeed answer these questions, didn't you?
Yes.
And in your interrogatory, you stated you had a copy of the will and the codicil by January of 2017, didn't you?
Yes. My sister emailed them to me.
So why did you tell the court he died intestate?
I don't understand what the word intestate means, ma'am. Could you explain that to me?
Sure. Intestate means dying without a will.
Okay, I did not say that.
But you did file an original pleading, didn't you?
Okay. Once again, I'm sorry you're confusing me with legal language. I'm not an attorney. I don't understand these questions.
Your attorney had to file into this court, didn't he?
He filed into this court, yes.
And in that initial filing, he said that your father died intestate, didn't he?
I don't know, ma'am. I'm sorry. I'm not being ignorant. I'm not following you.
Your Honor, may I object at this point? And if she's going to be testifying from a document that's not evident, that's not in evidence, I would ask that be at least offered into evidence so that I can exercise the optional completeness rule.
Your Honor, the original pleading is in evidence. That's how they initiate the proceeding in this court. The Texas rules require that a client looks and signs off on that, so she should be aware of the contents of her original pleading, whether or not it's in front of her.
Mr.
I can say this.
Okay, Mr. Burnett, I will note, Your Honor, that under optional completeness, even though this is not in that, the subsequent line to that indicates that descendant may have executed a will that's not available. So it goes to the relevance of the testimony, Your Honor. Well, counselor, when you have an opportunity to redirect, you can certainly ask to have it all. Thank you. Admitted at this time. Go right ahead.
So the will was available to you, and you had a copy in January of 17, didn't you?
I did. My sister emailed it to me.
And in your deposition that you did with me, you stated that you did not review bank statements with your father, didn't you?
That is correct. I did say that.
Do you remember an APS investigation that was conducted in 2012?
Yes.
And that investigation was for the theft of your father's money, wasn't it?
Correct.
Do you recall writing a statement for that investigation?
I recall writing one, but I don't remember what was in it.
Your Honor, may I approach?
You may.
I'm presenting the witness with what's been previously marked as Defendant's Exhibit F sub I. If you could read the document, what is in this document?
It says Texas Department of Family and Protective Services, APS, income, in-home investigation statement.
Your signature's on that document, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
And the date of the document is September 26, 2012, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you familiar with the document?
Yes. I don't remember everything that is in it, but I remember being there, yes.
And you drafted that document, didn't you?
It's my handwriting, yes.
At this time, Your Honor, I would like to admit into evidence Defendant's Exhibit FF sub I.
Mr. Burnett, Your Honor, she's admitted that the document she signed, if it's a prior inconsistent statement, she has admitted that, and it would not be eligible to be admitted as evidence. And what rule of evidence is that? That's 803, Your Honor. So you're saying that it shouldn't be admitted because it's not an exception to hearsay, or it is an exception to hearsay? It's hearsay, Your Honor, because it's an out-of-court statement. It was, she says, signed by her. She's admitted that it is a statement signed by her in order to introduce a prior inconsistent statement that apparently this may be once offered to her. If she admits it, then it is not entered into evidence as prior statement of hers.
I just need a timeout right now. That's as confusing today as it was that
Absolutely.
day. Okay, that I knew with that confusion that I was doing well. Sorry, continue, Your Honor.
Ms. Meadows?
Your Honor, I'm confused by counsel's argument. This is not a hearsay document. She's already testified that she wrote this document, she signed this document, and she dated this document. I'm asking now that she testify the contents of what she wrote, signed, and dated on that day.
Objection is overruled.
Brenda, will you please flip to page 2 of that document?
Exhibit FFI is admitted. Your Honor, one other thing, if it has been introduced into evidence, I would like to have a copy of what's been shown to the witness.
You were provided a copy electronically 7 days prior to the court hearing as required by the local rules, as well as you had a copy at our deposition.
Please address the court, Ms. Meadows.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. He was provided a copy electronically 7 days before the hearing as per the rules. Furthermore, this document was reviewed at deposition.
Mr. Burnett, is that not the case? If it was provided to me electronically, then it didn't come through to my office. I haven't seen it. It was provided as an exhibit at the deposition. That's true. Still, This is being offered as evidence, and it's not. I don't know what she has up there, Your Honor. So I would expect to be able to look and examine the document before it's entered into evidence, and to have a copy of the document she's entered. I already admitted the document into evidence. So to that extent, that's your objection. It's waived because I admitted it before you made the objection. If you like a courtesy copy, do you have where you gave him the copy? Can you?
Your Honor, I e-filed the documents that were sent to him electronically through the e-file system. I'm more than happy to share that copy.
When did you e-file the documents?
7 days ago. I'm sorry, it was e-serve.
Your Honor, at this time, let me just to expedite this hearing, I'll withdraw my objection.
She says,
I've overruled your objection. So your objection about receiving a copy? Yes, Your Honor, receiving a copy. I'll withdraw that objection and I'll just proceed with what the witness has. Okay, I'm also, all right, very well. Go right ahead.
The confusion.
The confusion. Brenda, if you could read from the third line down, starting with my father.
My father is fully aware of is going on around him. He drove south to Louisiana to visit a niece with cancer.
Thank you. If you could go to the first page near the bottom, what did you tell APS about how often you reviewed your father's bank statements with him?
Where am I reading at?
Your Honor, may I approach?
Do you have a copy of the document? You can point her.
It is, I believe, the third line from the bottom. Is it at the bottom of page 1?
The third line from the bottom says account 1 to 2 times a month.
If you could start right before that, before account, please, the line before that.
Would discuss this, the balance of the checking account 1 to 2 times a month.
Thank you. Yet you told me in your deposition that you never reviewed the accounts, didn't you?
I don't remember writing this document. I was very traumatized.
Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive.
Sustained.
You told me in your deposition that you did not review the documents with you or with your father, didn't you?
I don't remember what I said in the deposition.
You just testified that you said in the deposition you did not review the documents. Do you need a refresher?
Okay, if I said that, then okay.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes, you may.
I'm showing the witness what is page 42 of her deposition, line 18. Just read it to yourself.
Okay.
Does that help you refresh your memory?
Yes, it does.
So you told me in your deposition you never reviewed financials with your father, didn't you?
I did.
Yet you told me you did it once or twice a month, didn't you?
Yes.
That's what it says?
That's what it says in the document.
So were you lying to APS or were you lying to me?
I don't remember writing the document to APS that day.
Objection, Your Honor. Non-responsive.
She responded she didn't remember.
I didn't ask her if she remembered. I asked her if she was lying.
I'm not lying.
So were you not lying to APS or were you not lying to me?
I'm not lying.
Did you not lie to APS or did you not lie to me because you gave two very distinct pieces of information?
Okay, my answer is going to be the same, Miss Medell. I don't remember writing this document, and I...
Objection, Your Honor. Non-responsive.
Objection to counsel not allowing the witness to finish her answer.
She's not answering the question presented, Your Honor.
Ma'am, if you could complete your answer.
Thank you. I don't remember writing this document to APS, and I did tell you that my father and I did not go over his bank statements.
So you lie to suit yourself, don't you?
No, ma'am, I don't.
And your testimony to APS deferring from your deposition is an example of that, isn't it?
No, ma'am, it is not.
And another example of that would be the fact that you filed that your father was intestate when you actually had his will and codicil, wouldn't it?
No, ma'am, it is not.
Does it make sense to you that someone who is dishonest would be written out of a will?
I'm not dishonest.
Objection and relevancy, Your Honor. Ms. Medell.
Strike the question, Your Honor. Your father added you to his bank account in January of 2011, didn't he?
January of 2011. I don't remember the date.
And your father added you in anticipation of moving to Texas, didn't he?
He opened up a checking account, yes.
And he put your name on it, didn't he?
Yes, but I don't remember the date.
And you immediately began making transfers out of the account, didn't you?
I did.
Not?
Not.
I remember she was adamant that she had not. In fact, you made a transfer by January 31st of 2011, didn't you?
I don't know. I don't have statements in front of me, ma'am. I can't remember back that far.
Brenna, I think it's important that we create a timeline to determine where your father was and when.
Okay.
In April of 2010, your mother passed away, didn't she?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you aware of how your parents managed their finances before your mom passed?
My mother.
Objection, speculation, and relevancy again, Your Honor.
Your Honor, this is incredibly relevant because we're about to get into how the witness has spent down her entire inheritance.
I'll overrule the objection.
So you're not aware of how they handled their finances?
My mother.
And after?
Excuse me, let's give the witness an opportunity to answer the question.
My mother, as far as I was aware of.
And after your mom passed, do you know how your dad managed his finances?
I believe my sister was taking care of him.
And when your father opened that account with the two of you, you got a debit card, didn't you?
We both had debit cards.
But your father never carried that debit card, did he?
Sometimes.
And you carried your debit card often, didn't you?
Yes, I carried my personal debit card.
And you carried the debit card to your father's account, didn't you?
Yes, sometimes.
And in fact, you used that debit card to make purchases at North Park Mall when your father wasn't living here or even in the city, didn't you?
No.
All right, so back to our timeline. Your mom passes in April of 2010.
Okay.
And your father decides to come visit you for Christmas that December, right?
December 2010, yes.
And while he was down in Texas, he decided to move here, didn't he?
Correct.
And that's because the weather is better and he could be near his daughter, correct?
Yes.
And so in anticipation of that move, he added you to the account, didn't he?
Yes.
He purchased a home, didn't he?
Correct.
And he closed on that home in February of 11.
Yes.
And if I recall correctly, in my deposition, you told me that house was a mess. It had been a foreclosure and needed a ton of work. Is that right?
That's correct.
So your father then hired some folks with your assistance to remodel the property, didn't he?
He hired a contractor.
And he flew back and forth from Alaska and Texas to manage that project, didn't he?
He flew twice, or he came twice.
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance again. I'll allow it.
So your father was here in Texas in December and beginning of January 2011.
Uh-huh.
And then he flew back to Alaska and came back to Texas in February to close on his home, correct?
Yes, I believe so.
And then he flew back to Alaska and spent the month of March in Alaska, didn't he?
I believe so. I believe so, yes.
And then he came in April to manage the construction project, didn't he?
Yes.
I'm looking for what's been previously marked as Exhibit T. Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes, you may.
This is Exhibit T that was sent to you. Do you know what this document is?
The top of the document says PMA Prime Checking Account,
And does it say what bank it's with?
Wells Fargo.
And was that the bank your father had opened the account with you on, right?
And my sister, correct.
Do you see your name and your father's name and your sister's name on it?
Yes.
And that appears to be a statement, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Can you read for us the dates of that statement?
Your Honor, I'm raising an objection to the testimony from a document that has not been offered into evidence. Sustained.
Your Honor, I'll withdraw that question.
What was your question about?
The dates. I'm trying to authenticate the document, but I don't need her to read the dates in order to authenticate it.
Okay, go right ahead.
Are you familiar with this document?
I'm not familiar with it. I know what it says. It's a prime checking account statement.
And you've seen that document before, haven't you?
I have not.
You do recall taking a deposition in this case, don't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes, you may.
This might refresh your memory. I'm showing the witness page 28 of her deposition. If you just read from 19 down by yourself.
Yes.
Okay, so does that help your recollection?
Yes.
At this time, Your Honor, I would like to admit what has been marked as Defendant's Exhibit T.
Appears to be hearsay, Your Honor. It's a copy of something, a copy of a part of a bank statement in which there was no business record affidavit. There is no sponsoring witness for that. Ms. Medell?
It is the entire statement, Your Honor, and the sponsoring witness is the party who is sitting in front of us, whose name is listed as an account holder. She had told APS that she was looking at these documents once to twice a month. So we're really not sure how often she's reviewed these documents, but we know she has seen them.
Well, I will sustain the objection for now.
Without reading anything out loud from the document, do you see instances where your father's account were used in Texas during this month?
There's an Atmos Energy payment on there. There's an AT&T payment on there. Terra Energy. Do you want me to?
If you look around May 23rd, that might help you.
Okay.
Do you see any charges around May 23rd in Texas?
Yes.
But your father lived in Alaska at the time, didn't he?
Yes.
So those purchases weren't made by your father, were they?
I don't.
Objection, Your Honor. That would be speculation.
Your Honor, it can't be speculation since she's the one made the purchases. The last 4 digits of her card are shown on that, and she is aware of the purchase having been made by her and not her father.
She's asking the witness to speculate who made the charges, and that can't be derived from whatever document she may have in front of her. I'm going to allow the question.
Well, first of all, I don't remember the last 4 digits of the debit card number that I had back in 2012. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Or 2011.
But you do agree your father wasn't here, was he?
Correct.
And your father didn't like wearing women's clothing, did he?
No, ma'am. I said that the last time you asked me that. My answer is still no.
So he wouldn't have shopped much at J. Jill, would he?
Not for himself, but he was purchasing.
Objection. She's answered the question, Your Honor. Non-responsive.
Sustained.
Okay, so back to our timeline. Your father was managing the rebuilding of his house, the remodel, and it wasn't really available to move until September of 11. Is that right?
No, it was available during the summer. He wanted to fish.
So your father didn't want to move to Texas until September of 11. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And you actually decided that you needed to go on a cruise to prepare for that trip, didn't you?
Okay.
It's a yes or no question.
I don't know.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes, you may.
I'm showing the witness what's been marked as Defendant's Exhibit N. See it if you've seen this one. Brenda, do you recognize this email?
I don't recognize it, but it has my name on it and it has my sister's name on it.
So that email is from you to your sister, isn't it?
Correct.
And it's dated July of 11, isn't it?
Yes.
And you wrote that email, didn't you?
It says it's from me, so yes, ma'am.
At this time, I would like to admit into evidence what's been previously marked as Defendant's Exhibit N.
Your Honor, may I see the document? Ms. Medell, do you have a copy for?
Yes, I will grab.
If it helps, I can simply look at the one the witness has in her hand.
This is the one that was attached to the deposition.
I have no objection to the exhibit. Exhibit N is admitted.
Brenda, in this email, in this email, if you could go to the second page, it's the first full paragraph on that page. It starts with, Rod and I decided. Could you please read that out loud?
Rod and I decided we need a small separation before Daddy gets here. The whole paragraph. Oh, you.
No, that's you.
The whole paragraph?
Just until the word price.
Rod and I decided we needed a small vacation before Daddy gets here. We are taking a week-long cruise with Atticus from August 20th to 27th. You should come with us. Carnival had a sale, and the 3 of us got on the ship for a very good price.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes, you may.
I am now showing what has been previously marked as Defendant's Exhibit K. Brenda, are you familiar with this document?
I'm not familiar with it, but it says the same thing as the other one did. It's a prime checking account statement.
And if you wouldn't mind, look through that statement and tell me, is there a charge on August 17th?
Your Honor, I'm rising to object to the testimony from the document not in evidence and to the relevancy of this testimony.
Your Honor, I'm simply using this document to help her refresh her memory.
Okay, overruled. Now as far as relevancy.
Your Honor, she's about to confirm that there is a Carnival cruise purchase for $900, which directly aligns with the cruise she mentioned on the email on her dad's account, which is the spend down of her inheritance.
Mr. Burnett, Your Honor, there's one that's not proof and that's not in evidence, but whether or not it was reflected on the statement or not, the statement is not in evidence. The spend down of whether she spent the money or not it could have been a gift from him. It could not have been spent by her. There's a variety of things. What I'm saying is we're looking at whether or not she's qualified to be an administrator and whether or not this is relevant to that. I don't think this is relevant.
Your Honor, I've already talked about her dishonesty. We've seen her lie multiple times and even in documents to this court. These documents show not only the spend down, but she's absolutely not qualified to be an executor of this estate.
I'll overrule the objection.
Just confirm for me, please, that there's charge for $900 to Carnival Cruise.
On what date? I'm sorry.
August 17th.
Yes, there is.
Buying a cruise with your father's money wasn't enough for you, was it?
$900 didn't buy a cruise, Miss Medill.
Non-responsive.
I
didn't buy a cruise with my father's money.
Non-responsive.
What was your question?
I said $900 was not the only purchase you made, was it?
Excuse me?
Yeah, that's the court reporter.
Oh, Miss Warline, what was the question before $900 didn't buy a cruise? I'll sustain the objection.
May it be stricken from the record.
You now want to withdraw the question?
No, I'm sorry. Her answer be stricken.
The answer that $900 didn't buy a cruise?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll strike the answer.
You needed a pet sitter for that cruise, didn't you?
Yes.
And your usual pet sitter is angelfish and elephants. Is that correct?
I have used them in the past, correct?
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes, you may.
This is what I'm going to show. I'm about to show the witness what has been previously marked as Defendant's Exhibit P. Are you familiar with this document?
It's a check dated June or May to Angelfish and Elephants.
Are you familiar with the document, the check?
No, ma'am, I'm not. I'm not familiar with it.
Isn't that your signature on the check?
That is my signature.
So you are familiar with it.
Okay, yes.
You wrote that check, didn't you?
That is my handwriting. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. At this time, Your Honor, we would like to admit what's been previously marked as Defendant Exhibit P.
No objection. Exhibit P is admitted.
Can you tell me the amount of that charge?
The check was written $266 and no cents, $266.
Out of whose account was that check written?
Mine, and my dad's name is on it. Do you want the account number?
No, I just want to know the names on the account.
Mine and my dad's.
So you wrote a check for your pet sitting with your father's money, didn't you?
Well, the check also has my address on it, which confuses me.
Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive.
Please allow the witness to finish her statement. You may take your seat.
The check also has my personal address on it and not my dad's address on it.
Objection, non-responsive.
Sustained.
Can you repeat the question, please? No. Okay.
I'm going to a new question.
Okay.
You actually ordered the checks for that account, didn't you?
The bank ordered them when we opened the account.
So you had a checkbook with your name and your father's name on that account, didn't you?
A checkbook? My dad had the checkbook.
We've established.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
We've established that your father did not live in Texas at the time the account was open. So wouldn't it make sense that you would use your address?
The house was already his, so he would have been able to receive mail at his house.
Objection, non-responsive.
I'm having a hard time following the back and forth, so I'm going to ask you to take a little more time to develop your questions so that I can tell whether or not her answers are truly responsive or not.
Okay. You testified moments ago that in anticipation of your father moving to Texas, he opened an account with Wells Fargo in January of 2011, didn't you?
Yes, that's correct.
And at that time, you also testified that your father didn't close on a home until February of 11, didn't you?
That is correct.
So wouldn't it make sense that in January of 11, when you and your father went to open the account at Wells Fargo, you would use your Texas address?
I don't know what address I used.
You just testified that your address is on that check.
Right, but I don't remember giving the bank my address for his checking account. I don't remember doing that.
My question was, wouldn't it make sense that since he didn't own a home yet, when you opened the account in January, that you and he would use your address.
I guess.
And so you paid for pet sitters, for your cruise with a check from the checking account that was your father's and had your name on it, didn't you?
That's what that check says. Yes, ma'am.
Your father didn't wear hair extensions, did he?
Not that I'm aware of.
So why would your father make a purchase with Chad Gunn, the hairdresser?
I don't know.
You see Chad Gunn, don't you?
No, I don't.
Did you see Chad Gunn? You did see Chad Gunn in 2011, didn't you?
I have seen Chad Gunn in the past, yes, but I do not now.
But when you were on your father's account, you saw Chad Gunn for your hair, didn't you?
Yes.
And your dad, I know he was on some medications and that he would take multivitamins.
Right.
But he didn't take many supplements, did he?
Yeah, he did.
Did he do much shopping online?
No, he did not.
So when his debit card purchased supplements online, it's likely wasn't him making that purchase, was it?
Probably not, but I was probably doing it for him.
Objection, Your Honor. Non-responsive to the but I was doing it for him.
Sustained.
May I ask that be stricken?
The portion may be stricken.
Your father wasn't a heavy man, was he?
A heavy man?
Yeah, overweight?
No, ma'am, he was not overweight.
In fact, he was quite thin, wasn't he?
He was towards the last.
So why did your father's debit card have a subscription to Shakeology.com, a weight loss shake?
I don't know.
You used Shakeology.com, didn't you?
No. No, I did not.
We're obviously not actresses here.
I have not really been overweight to have to do that.
But you'd like to maintain your weight, wouldn't you?
At the time or present?
Yes, in 2011.
I don't remember. I can't tell you how I felt about my weight in 2011. I'm sorry.
But you can tell us that your father was not too concerned about losing weight, was he?
Actually, my father was obsessed with his weight.
Was he worried about losing it?
He was worried that he was overweight.
So he went to the internet to buy supplements?
I didn't say that.
I'm asking you.
No, I don't know what he did that.
Did he shop on the internet often?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yet there are many internet charges throughout the bank accounts, aren't there?
The one that I just had in my hand?
You've reviewed two.
Are you asking me to go back and review them?
I'm simply asking you, throughout the time you were on your dad's account, there were very many charges through the internet, weren't there?
I can't remember that question without documents in my hand. I go back and review them if that's what you're asking.
Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive.
Sustained.
You know what Kate Somerville is, don't you?
Yes.
Can you tell us what it is?
She is a skincare person, esthetician. I don't know what her title is.
Does she have a cosmetics line?
She did not have a cosmetics line. She had a skincare line.
Okay, she has skincare. Was your father very concerned about his wrinkles?
No, ma'am, not that I'm aware of.
So help me understand then why his debit card, while you were listed on the account, purchased from Kate Somerville upwards of once a month?
I can't answer that question without reviewing documents.
Did you used to get facials once a month?
No.
Back in 2011?
No.
Did you buy skincare products from Kate Somerville back in 2011?
I don't remember.
How long have you known what Kate Somerville is?
I don't remember that. I don't remember.
Did you know what Kate Somerville is in 2000? Or you did know what Kate Somerville is in 2011, didn't you?
I need to review the documents, ma'am. I'm sorry.
You have a credit card with Merrick Bank, don't you?
No, I don't.
But you did in 2011, didn't you?
I don't remember, but if you have proof that I did, okay, but I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Do you remember having a Capital One card back then?
No, ma'am, I don't remember.
Do you remember your father having a Merrick credit card?
No, ma'am, I don't remember what credit cards my father had.
Do you remember him having a Capital One card?
I don't remember.
Your grandson is a boy, is that correct?
That is correct.
And he loves Chick-fil-A, doesn't he?
Yes, ma'am.
And you would often buy Chick-fil-A for him, wouldn't you?
He and my dad and I went to Chick-fil-A often. Yes, ma'am.
What about when your father was out of town? Would you take your grandson to Chick-fil-A if your father wasn't there?
Grandson?
I'm sorry. Would you take your grandson to Chick-fil-A if your father wasn't in town?
I don't know. I don't know how many times I've taken my grandson to Chick-fil-A. Numerous times.
And we established earlier that your father was in Alaska in March of 2011, correct?
Correct.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes, you may.
I'm showing what's been previously marked as Defendant's Exhibit R. Just look over that document. Do you see any purchases at Chick-fil-A in Dallas?
I'm sorry, this is hard to read. Yes, I see one on March the 23rd.
So you went to Chick-fil-A with your grandson and without your dad, didn't you?
I don't know what I did on March the 23rd, 2011.
But your father was out of town that day, wasn't he?
I don't remember exactly what day he was out of town, but probably, maybe. I don't remember what day he was out of town.
Okay, but you testified that he was out of town in March, didn't you?
This is towards the end of March.
Right, but you had testified
Yes, ma'am.
that he was out of town in March.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recall a large deposit being made into your father's account in February so he could purchase his home here in Texas?
No, I don't.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes, you may.
I'm showing the witness what's been previously marked as Defendant's Exhibit Y. There you go. Okay. Brenda, this is a bank statement in which your name is listed, isn't it?
I'm sorry, repeat the question.
I'm sorry. This is a bank statement in which your name is listed, isn't it?
My dad, myself, and my sister, yes.
And do you see a deposit in the right-hand column there?
On February the 2nd?
Yes.
Yes.
And that's a very large deposit, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And by large, I mean over 100,000.
Yes.
That money was intended for your father to buy his home, wasn't it?
I don't remember what the money was intended for, ma'am. I'm sorry.
But it wasn't intended for you to spend, was it?
I don't remember what the money was intended for.
And in fact, by the time you reached September, your father's account already had insufficient funds, didn't it?
I don't know.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes, you may.
I'm showing what's been previously marked as Defendant's Exhibit X. This is another bank statement, isn't it?
Correct.
Can you just tell me what days this statement covers?
September the 1st, 2011 through September the 30th, 2011.
And just tell me, at a glance looking at it, do you see any NSF fees?
I see one.
So between a deposit of over $100,000 in February of 2011 and September of 2011, your father's account became so low in balance that it had insufficient funds charged, didn't it?
Yes, ma'am. That's what it says.
Was your father a big spender?
Was he a big spender?
He wasn't a big spender, was he?
He wasn't prior to, he changed after he got ill, so his spending habits changed.
Your dad had a heart attack in March of 12, didn't he?
Yes, ma'am.
And you actually went to the ATM when he was in the hospital and removed $200, didn't you?
I don't know.
Did your father like Vera Bradley purses?
He didn't.
But you do, don't you?
No.
You actually remember doing the deposition, right?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And do you recall we talked about Vera Bradley purses?
We did.
And you told me that you had Vera Bradley purses since 08 or 09, didn't you?
I have, yes. One that I had since 08 or 09. I did tell you that. Yes, ma'am.
So were you lying to me during the deposition, or was that just now here in court?
Your Honor, objection to the characterization. Sustained.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes, you may.
I'm showing the witness page 23 of her deposition. Could you kind of read over the page and see if it refreshes your memory? Did that help refresh your memory?
Yes, ma'am.
See, so how many Vera Bradley purses was it that you owned?
I don't know how many Vera Bradley purses I own. I'm so sorry. I don't know how many Vera Bradley purses I owned in 08 or 09.
Well, you just told us it was only one.
Okay.
So which is it?
One. It was a green one.
Wow, that's very specific after not knowing how many there were. And your father, did he like to buy Vera Bradley online?
He did not.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes, you may.
I'm showing you what has been previously marked as Defendant's Exhibit S. Look over this. It's another bank statement. Is this another bank statement with your name on it?
Yes, it is mine, my dad's, mine, and my sister's.
And there's a Vera Bradley purse on there, isn't there?
Yes, there is.
Was your father buying Vera Bradley purses?
Not for himself, but he was asking me to purchase them for some of his lady friends, as I testified to in my deposition.
turned your father on to Vera Bradley?
Probably saw one I had, or he could have seen it from some of the other ladies at church. I don't know. I don't know who turned him on to it.
Back to that APS investigation. That investigation took place through August, September, and September of 12, didn't it?
Can I go back and pull the date?
Absolutely.
Can I set the microphone down?
Yes, you may. Just turn it off if you would.
So you recall then that it was August and September of 2012?
The date of the date that I signed this paper was September 26, 2012.
Are you aware of how that investigation came to be?
I know what the lady at APS told me.
What did you learn from the lady at APS regarding the investigation?
Objection.
Your Honor, I'm just asking her to recap what she learned, not tell us direct statements.
Sustained. Overruled.
So what did you learn from her about her investigation?
She told me that my sister started the investigation.
What else did you learn?
I don't remember. I'm sorry. I guess I don't understand the question. Repeat.
Well, you had a discussion with the APS investigator, so you must have learned some facts about the investigation. You're telling us that you learned your sister opened the investigation. What else did you learn?
That she was concerned that I was spending my father's money.
Did you learn why she was concerned?
No.
Would it surprise you to know that Wells Fargo actually called APS?
I only know what I was told. I don't know who, if somebody else did it, I don't know who did it.
I'm just asking if it would surprise you.
I guess. I don't know how to answer that question.
Well, you're either surprised or you're not.
I'm not, I guess.
And are you not surprised because you're aware of over $9,000 worth of transfers from your dad's account in August of 12 to yours?
I'm not aware of that. Do you have that? I don't have that I can look at.
Objection, non-responsive. She answered the question, then followed up with a question.
I'll sustain every portion of that after I'm not aware.
You know why your father made a codicil, don't you?
No, I do not.
You know that after September of 12, you were removed from the Wells Fargo account, don't you?
My sister removed me, yes.
Objection, non-responsive. I didn't ask who removed. I said you were aware you were removed.
Sustained.
Can we strike her answer?
Her answer will be stricken.
Are you aware that you were removed from the accounts after September 12, aren't you?
Yes.
And you're aware that you told us in your deposition that you had done some accidental spending, aren't you?
I told you I believe what I said was that there were times I had my dad's debit card and I had both debit cards had my name on it, so I would pull out one instead of the other.
But you wouldn't reimburse his account after you used it, would you?
Yes, ma'am, I did. If I caught my mistake, yes, ma'am, I did.
In fact, you never made deposits to your father's accounts, did you?
I don't remember.
You only used your father's account to transfer to your own account for your own benefit, didn't you?
No, ma'am.
Did your dad make a lot of mobile money transfers?
Mobile money?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you explain to me what you mean by mobile money? I'm not being flip. I just don't.
Where you use your cell phone and you go in the mobile app and you transfer using the mobile app?
No, my father didn't do that.
Yet there are many mobile transfers throughout his bank statements, aren't there?
Your Honor, again, assuming facts not in evidence, she's leading the witness and telling her that there are many of these mobile transfers. But she's entitled to lead the witness. It's not her witness. I understand that, Your Honor, but she's leading the witness by assuming facts that are not in evidence. Sustained.
You know it was your father's wishes to have your sister as executor of his estate, don't you?
I believe that she was the executor of his first will. Yes, ma'am.
And you also know that your father wrote a codicil in 2012 to write you out of the will, don't you?
In January of 2017, I became aware of that, yes.
You became aware of that because you received less from your father's investment accounts than you had expected, didn't you?
I'm sorry?
Your father had investment accounts, didn't he?
Yes, ma'am.
And after they paid out, because those are by beneficiary, after he passed away, because those accounts are by beneficiary, they paid out to each named beneficiary, didn't they?
That's what I was told by Roy Wells, yes.
And it was after you received those funds that you asked about the will and codicil, isn't it?
I don't remember those dates. I don't remember when I received notice of one. and then what the exact date was that I received notification of the will of the codicil.
But you are aware that your father wrote a codicil because you stole money from him, aren't you?
Objection to speculation, Your Honor. Sustained.
Do you believe that after all the spending you did, and all the transfers you made, and all the Vera Bradley purses you got, and all the times you got your hair done, and all of the Kate Somerville products you purchased, you still deserve half of what your father left?
My father left both of his daughters, and he would have never deliberately cut one out of the will had he been in his right mind.
Objection, Your Honor. Non-responsive.
Sustained.
If you could please answer my question.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. My answer is going to be the same. My father would have never deliberately cut me out of his will.
Objection, Your Honor. Non-responsive. That's not what I asked her.
Sustained.
What I asked is, do you believe after all of the transfers you made to your savings account, all of the credit card payments you made with your father's money, the cruise you paid for with your father's money, all those transfers, that you still deserve 50% of whatever your father left behind?
Yes.
Do you recall taking a deposition in this case?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes, you may.
I'm about to show the witness page 75 of her deposition. If you read from line 2
Out loud or to myself?
to 9 to yourself.
Okay.
So let me ask you again. Do you believe after all the withdrawals, all the purchase, all the Vera Bradley purses, the cruises, the Tommy Bahama, the credit card payments, that you should get 50% of your father's estate?
Yes.
May I approach again?
Yes, you may.
At this time, Your Honor, I'd like to admit into evidence the deposition of Marcia Dillon, and I'm specifically pointing her to page 75. Are you familiar with this deposition?
Yes.
Do you recall taking it in my conference room?
Yes, I was.
And do you recall it was sworn testimony, don't you?
Yes, I was.
Your Honor, if I could be marked if I could admit what's previously been marked as, not W, UU, Defendant's Exhibit UU, the deposition of Marcia Dillon.
Your Honor, I rise to object to the entry of the entire deposition. There were objections made during the deposition. We have not received notice of what portions of that deposition that is being offered as evidence. If she's offering those last few lines, I have no objection to offering those last few lines. I'm familiar with those lines, but the entire deposition, I rise to object. Sustained.
Your Honor, if I could just omit the last few lines.
What, can you give us a cite to the lines that you'd like her to read?
Yes, Your Honor.
You can just have her read from her deposition.
Yes, Your Honor. Okay, will you please read to us from line 2 until the line?
Is there a page number?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm sorry, page 75. It's the final testimony page of the deposition.
Line 2?
Go ahead and read it out loud. She read it out loud. Yeah, that's her.
And after all of your withdrawals and purchases, do you still believe you should get 50%? Line 5. I'm not going to answer that. I don't know how to answer that. Line 7. Well, it's a yes or no question. So either the word yes or the word no will suffice. Line 9. I guess no.
Thank you. Your Honor, I have no more questions for this witness.
Okay, it is now 3:30.
Okay, you can stop. That was it.
That was all.
That was the best cross-examination, I feel like.
Absolutely.
So, no, that was a direct with Ryan.
Yeah.
I think that's hands down the best
Yeah.
cross I've ever done.
Yeah.
And when he got so discombobulated, like Sedre was just trying to read.
Oh my God.
And that's like, I was like, oh, I'm winning this. This is good. So, thank you everyone for joining us. It looks like we've had
Absolutely.
quite a few people come online. So, thank you so much. I hope this has been interesting. Like, this is what lawyers do.
Absolutely.
This is like courtroom, and we do have to ask to approach, and a lot of that was kind of just what's required so I can get things in and whatnot. But I feel like that was a really
Courtesy
good.
of courts. And
Yes.
all that.
So thank you everyone for
you.
hanging out with us today, and if we ever have another good one, we'll certainly read it to you again.